Listen carefully, because this is not a motivational talk. This is a divine interruption. Some of you have been praying, crying, fasting, and waiting. And heaven says, you are not being delayed, you are being prepared. God never moves a person suddenly, He prepares them silently. Right now, God is calling you out of an old season and into a new dimension of purpose. But hear this truth clearly. If you don't prepare, the blessing can pass you by. When God changes seasons, He does not ask for permission. He changes environments, relationships, assignments, and expectations. You thought God was punishing you, but God says, I was pruning you. You thought doors were closing, but God says, I was redirecting you. Some of you are uncomfortable, restless, disturbed in your spirit. That is not depression, that is transition. Before God promotes you, He disrupts you. Before He increases you, He stretches you. Before He blesses you publicly, He trains you privately. Do not underestimate this moment. Heaven is watching how you respond, because new seasons demand new preparation. God never moves suddenly without first speaking quietly. Long before the season changes on the outside, God begins to stir something on the inside. Most people miss this because they expect God to shout, but God often whispers. He warns before He works. He signals before He shifts. Think about daily life. Before rain comes, the wind changes, the sky darkens, the air feels heavy. In the same way, before God brings a new season, He changes your inner atmosphere. You feel restless even though nothing is wrong. You feel uncomfortable where you once felt settled. That is not confusion. That is God warning you that where you are is no longer where you are supposed to stay. Look at a worker who has been in the same job for years. One day, the salary feels empty, the routine feels heavy, the joy disappears. Others say, you should be grateful, but deep inside, something keeps saying, there is more. That dissatisfaction is not rebellion, it is revelation. God is warning you that your current season has expired. When shoes no longer fit, pain is not the enemy, it is the message that growth has happened. God allows discomfort to announce development. Sometimes the warning comes through repeated situations. You keep facing the same problem again and again, different people but the same lesson. That is God saying, learn this now, because where I am taking you, this weakness will destroy you. Just like a student who fails the same test repeatedly until they study properly, God allows repetition not to shame you, but to prepare you. Delay is not denial, delay is training. In daily family life, before a child grows taller, they experience growing pains. Parents cannot see it, but the child feels it deeply. In the same way, before spiritual growth, emotional pressure increases. You feel misunderstood. You feel lonely, even among people. God is warning you that He is about to stretch your capacity. If God did not warn you, the blessing would break you. So He prepares you slowly, quietly, intentionally. Sometimes God's warning comes through loss. A friendship fades, a door closes, a plan collapses. You ask, why now? God says, because if this stayed, you would never move. When a train is about to depart, the station announcement is not to scare passengers, but to prepare them. Closed doors are announcements. Silence from people is a signal. Distance is direction. God never removes without reason. He removes to reposition. Even in daily habits, God warns us. You suddenly lose interest in things that once excited you. Gossip, noise, distractions. Your spirit starts craving quiet, prayer, depth. That is not boredom, that is elevation. Eagles are not warned by words, they are warned by instinct. When storms come, eagles fly higher, not lower. God gives you inner instincts before outer instructions. Think of farmers. Before harvest, they see signs. Crops mature, color changes, the ground dries. They do not wake up one day shocked by harvest, they prepare storage in advance. In the same way, God shows signs before promotion. He tests your patience, your discipline, your faithfulness in small things. If you ignore the signs, you will mishandle the harvest. God also warns through pressure. Responsibilities increase. People expect more from you. You feel stretched beyond comfort. That pressure is not punishment, it is preparation. Diamonds are worn before they shine. Pressure announces value. God never promotes comfort, He promotes capacity. Even spiritually, God warns through repeated messages. You hear the same truth from different sources. Sermons, conversations, inner thoughts. That repetition is not coincidence, it is confirmation. When God repeats Himself, it is because the moment is near. He warns because He loves. A loving parent warns a child before danger, not after damage. Sometimes the warning feels like fear, but it is actually discernment. You sense something is about to change, but you cannot explain it. That feeling is God adjusting your vision. Before God changes your location, He changes your perspective. Before He moves your feet, He moves your mind. Look at daily health. Before illness becomes serious, the body sends signals. Fatigue, pain, weakness. Wise people respond early. Foolish people ignore until it becomes severe. In the same way, spiritual warnings ignored turn into painful lessons. God warns early so you can adjust easily. God's warnings are mercy. They are invitations to prepare, not threats to panic. When God warns, He is saying, pack your faith, strengthen your character, clean your heart, sharpen your vision. He warns because He is about to trust you with more. If God did not plan to change your season, He would let you stay comfortable. The warning itself is proof of promotion. Only chosen people are warned. Others are left asleep. If you feel the stirring, the shaking, the inner alert, rejoice quietly. Heaven has already scheduled your next chapter. Entering a new season is not the greatest miracle. Remaining there is. Many people celebrate the door opening, but few prepare for what happens after they walk through it. God is generous in promotion, but He is serious about preparation. What you prepare today decides whether tomorrow becomes permanent or temporary. Think of daily life. Many people get a job, but not everyone keeps it. The difference is not talent alone, but discipline, attitude, and readiness. In the same way, God may lift you quickly, but if your inner life is not prepared, the season will not last. Preparation is what turns opportunity into stability. A student may pass an entrance exam and enter a good college, but without study habits, focus, and consistency, that same student will struggle or drop out. Entry is one thing, endurance is another. God opens doors by grace, but staying inside requires growth. That is why some people receive blessings suddenly and lose them just as fast. They prayed for elevation, but never prepared for responsibility. In daily family life, imagine giving a child adult responsibilities without maturity. The child may feel excited for a moment, but soon becomes overwhelmed. God is wiser than that. He does not measure your excitement, He measures your readiness. Preparation is God's way of protecting you from collapse. When God delays, He is not denying, He is developing. Look at athletes. They may win one race, but champions train daily to stay at the top. One victory does not guarantee a career. Without preparation, success becomes pressure. God does not want your blessing to become a burden. So He prepares your character before He expands your platform. Fame without humility, money without wisdom, influence without integrity. These things shorten seasons instead of extending them. In work life, a person may get promoted to a leadership position because of skill, but if they are not prepared emotionally, they lose respect, make poor decisions, and burn bridges. Preparation teaches patience, listening, and self-control. God values who you are becoming more than what you are achieving. A season lasts when the inner person can carry the outer reward. Preparation also shapes mindset. Many people pray for abundance but still think in survival mode. They receive more, but fear losing it. They save poorly, give poorly, and trust poorly. That mindset sabotages the season. God prepares the mind so the blessing does not leak. New seasons require new thinking, or else old habits will destroy new opportunities. In relationships, people often pray for a good partner but never heal their wounds. When love arrives, insecurity ruins it. Preparation would have healed the heart before the gift arrived. God does not rush what requires maturity. He prepares you so you do not repeat old patterns in a new season. Even spiritually, preparation decides longevity. A person may experience a powerful encounter with God, but without prayer discipline and obedience, the fire fades. Spiritual moments are sustained by spiritual habits. God prepares you in private so you can last in public. Public elevation without private preparation leads to quick burnout. Look at business life. Many PE. Opal want profit but skip process. They want harvest without planting, gain without patience. When success comes too fast, they mismanage it. God prepares you through small beginnings, because small lessons save you in big moments. Faithfulness in little things trains you for greater trust. Preparation often looks like obscurity, repetition, and waiting. You do the same thing daily with no applause, but that is where endurance is built. Muscles grow in resistance, not rest. God uses hidden seasons to strengthen weak areas. What you learn quietly sustains you loudly. Preparation also teaches gratitude. People who were never prepared take blessings for granted. Prepared people protect what God gives. They stay humble, teachable, and dependent. Gratitude keeps seasons alive. Pride shortens them. Many people pray, God, take me higher, but few pray, God, make me ready. Height without depth leads to falling. God prepares roots before He allows height. Trees that grow too fast fall first in storms. Seasons last when roots are deep. Preparation is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It is waking up early when no one sees. It is correcting small habits. It is saying no to distractions. It is choosing discipline over comfort. God watches preparation more than performance. If a season ended too quickly in the past, it was not to shame you, but to teach you. God is merciful. He prepares again, deeper this time. When preparation is complete, the season will not just open, it will remain. God often works in a way that confuses the human heart before it comforts it. Before He reveals what is new, He removes what is familiar. This is one of the hardest truths to accept, because familiarity feels like safety, even when it no longer serves our destiny. In daily life, people stay in old routines, old relationships, old environments, not because they are growing there, but because they recognize them. God knows that what feels familiar can slowly become a prison. So before He shows you what is next, He gently, or sometimes suddenly, takes away what you are leaning on. Think about a person who has lived in the same house for years. The walls are old, the roof leaks, the space is too small, but it feels like home. When the owner decides to renovate or move, the first step is disruption. Furniture is removed. Walls are broken. Dust fills the air. It looks like destruction, but it is actually preparation. In the same way, when God removes familiar people, places, or patterns, it feels like loss, but heaven calls it construction. You cannot build something new on top of something that has already served its purpose. In relationships, God often removes people you thought would always be there. Friends drift away, conversations change, support fades. You ask God why He allowed distance. But God sees what you cannot see. Some people were assigned to your previous season, not your future. Keeping them would slow you down. Just like a rocket must drop stages to go higher, God removes weight so you can rise. Holding on to familiar people can keep you tied to old versions of yourself. In work life, many people are comfortable in jobs they complain about daily. They hate the pressure, the low growth, the lack of fulfillment, yet the moment the job is threatened, fear appears. Why? Because familiarity creates false security. God sometimes allows that job to end, not to punish you, but to push you. If that job stayed, you would never explore the gift inside you. God removes the chair so you are forced to stand on faith. Even habits can be familiar enemies. Scrolling endlessly, wasting time, negative thinking, self-doubt. These things feel normal because they are repeated. When God begins to remove them, you feel empty, bored, unsettled. You say, I don't know what to do with myself anymore. God says, good, Now I can teach you something new. Emptiness is not abandonment, it is space. God creates room before He brings replacement. In family life, sometimes expectations change. People no longer treat you the same. The role you played for years disappears. You feel unneeded, unseen. But God is freeing you from labels that limit you. Familiar roles can trap destiny. When God removes them, it is because He is about to introduce you to who you really are. Look at nature. Before a tree bears new fruit, old branches are cut. The tree looks weaker, smaller, exposed. But pruning is not cruelty, it is wisdom. God removes what no longer produces, so strength can flow to what will. If God did not remove, growth would be shallow. Familiar things often drain energy without producing results. Spiritually, God removes emotional dependence on people, so you learn dependence on Him. When prayer feels dry, when comfort disappears, when old spiritual feelings fade, it feels frightening. But God is shifting you from emotion to faith, from habit to intimacy. He removes what you rely on so you can discover a deeper source. In daily routines, when your schedule suddenly changes and your structure breaks, you feel lost. But God is teaching flexibility. New seasons require new rhythms. Old routines cannot carry new responsibilities. God removes the clock so you learn to listen to His timing. Many times God removes clarity before revealing vision. You feel unsure, directionless, confused. That confusion humbles you. It silences pride, it creates hunger. God never feeds the full, He feeds the hungry. Familiar certainty can make you arrogant. God removes it so you can hear Him clearly. When familiar things leave, the heart wants to chase them back. But chasing the past delays the future. God removes without explanation sometimes because explanation would cause negotiation. If God explained everything, you would try to keep what He is trying to take away. Trust grows when familiarity leaves. In everyday health, doctors often remove what is infected before healing can begin. The removal hurts, but it saves life. God removes emotional infections, resentment, fear, attachment, before releasing new joy. Pain is temporary, healing is lasting. God never reveals the full picture while you are still holding the old one. Your hands must be empty to receive. That is why loss often comes before blessing, silence before direction, endings before beginnings. Familiar things leave, not because God is done with you, but because He is not done with your story. Faith is not only something you feel inside, it is something you release through your mouth. Before the season changes on the outside, faith must be spoken on the inside of your world. God responds to voiced belief, not silent hope. Many people believe quietly but speak fear loudly, and what they speak becomes the atmosphere they live in. In daily life, think about a child learning to walk. Before the child walks confidently, they say the words they hear, "I can look at me," even when they stumble. Speech comes before stability. In the same way, God asks you to speak what you believe before you see it. Words shape direction. Every day, people speak their future without realizing it. A student says, "I'm bad at this," and slowly stops trying. Another says, "I'm learning," and keeps improving. The difference is not intelligence, it is declaration. Faith spoken out loud trains the mind to move forward. God created the world with words, not silence. When He wanted light, He did not think it, He said it. If God uses words to create, you must use words to cooperate. In work life, people often speak limitation before opportunity arrives. They say, "I'm not qualified, I'll never grow, this is all I can do." When promotion comes, fear blocks it. Faith would have prepared the heart earlier. Speaking faith daily conditions you to receive what God is preparing. Just like rehearsing before a performance reduces fear, declaring faith before the season changes reduces doubt. In family life, words build or break environments. A home where people constantly say, "We can't afford this, things are getting worse," becomes heavy with worry. Another home speaks, "We will manage, God will provide," and peace remains even in lack. Faith does not deny reality, it defines direction. Speaking faith invites hope into pressure. Even in health, Doctors encourage positive speech. A patient who says, "I'm fighting," responds better than one who says, "I'm done." The body listens to the mouth. God designed humans that way. When you speak fear, your spirit weakens. When you speak faith, strength rises. Before healing manifests, faith must be voiced. Faith spoken before change also builds courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is speaking despite fear. Think of someone starting a business. Before the first profit, they tell others, "I'm building something." That declaration keeps them moving through uncertainty. Silence breeds doubt. Declaration fuels endurance. Spiritually, many people pray silently but speak negativity daily. Prayer plants seeds, speech waters them. If you plant faith in prayer and water fear with words, fear will grow faster. God listens to what you declare consistently. Faith is not magic words, it is alignment between heart and mouth. In relationships, people often speak failure before love has a chance. All relationships fail, I'll get hurt again. Then they act guarded and distant. Faith would speak healing first. Spoken faith creates emotional readiness for new seasons. You cannot receive new love while verbally rehearsing old pain. Faith also shifts identity. When you repeatedly say, "I am capable, I am growing," your mind begins to agree. God often changes identity before circumstances. Spoken faith trains you to see yourself differently before the world does. Before every major change in life, people rehearse language. Athletes speak victory before the game. Leaders speak vision before results. Teachers speak potential before achievement. Faith follows the same principle. God changes seasons through agreement, not resistance. Speaking faith is agreeing with heaven before earth catches up. Silence during transition can feel safe, but it delays momentum. Faith spoken aloud activates courage, clarity, and confidence. God listens for agreement. When you speak faith, you invite divine action into human space. Before God releases a new season, He always examines obedience. Obedience is the bridge between promise and fulfillment. Many people want the release, but few understand the test that comes just before it. God does not test to trap you, He tests to trust you. In daily life, before someone is given access to important responsibilities, they are asked to follow instructions. A company does not hand over leadership to someone who cannot follow basic rules. In the same way, God checks obedience before He hands over greater influence. Obedience is often tested in small, uncomfortable moments. God rarely begins with big commands. He starts with simple directions that challenge your comfort. Wake up earlier, forgive that person, let go of that habit, speak truth even when it costs you. These instructions feel ordinary, but they carry extraordinary weight. Just like a driver must stop at red lights before being trusted on highways, obedience in small things proves readiness for greater movement. In family life, children are given freedom based on obedience. Parents do not allow independence until trust is built. When a child obeys even when no one is watching, parents relax, they are control. God works the same way. Obedience shows Him that your heart is aligned, not just your words. Many people pray passionately but resist simple instructions. Prayer without obedience becomes noise. In work life, sometimes a manager gives a task that feels unnecessary. Employees who complete it faithfully are remembered when promotion time comes. Others complain and miss the opportunity. Obedience reveals attitude. God watches how you respond when instructions do not make sense. Breakthrough often comes after obedience that felt illogical. Obedience is also tested when emotions are involved. God may ask you to stay quiet when you want to defend yourself, to give when you want to keep, to wait when you want to rush. These moments stretch trust. Obedience says, I trust God's wisdom more than my feelings, just like a patient trusts a doctor. Even when treatment hurts, obedience trusts purpose beyond pain. In daily habits, discipline is obedience to long-term goals. Waking up early, saving money, avoiding distractions. These acts prepare people for success. Those who obey structure enjoy freedom later. God's instructions are structure for destiny. Obedience today prevents regret tomorrow. Spiritually, obedience deepens relationship. A person who obeys listens carefully. They become sensitive to guidance. Disobedience dulls hearing. Just like ignoring a GPS leads to confusion, ignoring God's direction delays arrival. God tests obedience to see if you will listen when the road gets unfamiliar. Obedience is also tested in timing. God often asks you to wait when everything in you wants to move. Waiting is obedience in motionless form. Many people miss their season because they moved early. God's release has a time, and obedience aligns you with it. Sometimes obedience costs reputation. People may misunderstand you. They may think you are foolish. But obedience lose God's approval over human applause. Leaders who last learn to obey quietly before leading loudly. God releases authority to those who obey without audience. Obedience proves humility. It says, I don't know everything, but I trust the one who does. Pride resists obedience, humility embraces it. God releases power to the humble because they will not misuse it. Before release, God often repeats the same instruction. He watches if you obey consistently or only when convenient. Consistent obedience builds reliability. God releases blessings where reliability lives. Obedience may feel slow, but it accelerates destiny. One act of obedience can unlock years of waiting. God tests obedience not to delay you, but to protect what He is about to release. Every new season demands a new way of seeing. When life changes, but vision does not, frustration begins. Many people step into new opportunities carrying old perspectives, and those old lenses limit what they can handle. Vision is not eyesight, it is insight. In daily life, when someone upgrades their phone but keeps the old software, the device cannot perform at its best. In the same way, God may upgrade your season, but if your vision remains outdated, you will struggle in a place that was meant to bless you. New vision begins with letting go of how things used to work. A person who moves from a small town to a big city cannot live with the same mindset. The pace is faster, the demands are higher, the opportunities are broader. If they keep thinking small, they feel overwhelmed instead of empowered. God shifts seasons to expand you, not to suffocate you. But expansion requires vision that matches the environment. In work life, an employee promoted to leadership must change how they think. Yesterday they focused on tasks. Today they must focus on people, strategy, and long-term goals. If they keep thinking like a worker, they fail as a leader. New seasons expose old thinking. God changes your position to reveal where your vision needs growth. In relationships, vision matters deeply. Someone entering marriage cannot think like they are single. Freedom, priorities, and responsibility all shift. Without new vision, conflict increases. God often brings relational changes to mature perspective. Love requires seeing beyond self. New seasons demand vision that includes others, not just personal comfort. Even financially, new vision is required. A person who receives more income but keeps a poverty mindset will live in fear, overspend, or hoard. Money does not change mindset. Mindset manages money. God expands resources to test vision. Without vision, abundance feels stressful instead of empowering. Vision also shapes faith. In early seasons, faith may be about survival. In new seasons, faith must become about purpose. A person who once prayed just to make it through now must pray to make impact. God does not elevate you to repeat old prayers. He elevates you to pray new ones. Vision shifts prayer language. In daily habits, new seasons require new discipline. A student entering higher education cannot study the night before exams like before. The demand increases. Without vision, they blame pressure instead of preparing differently. God allows pressure to invite vision. Pressure is not meant to crush you, it is meant to focus you. Vision also affects how you interpret challenges. In old seasons, obstacles may have stopped you. In new seasons, obstacles are indicators of growth. Athletes moving to higher competition face tougher opponents. They do not quit, they train harder. New seasons reveal new resistance because your capacity has increased. Vision reframes resistance as confirmation. In spiritual life, new vision moves you from routine to revelation. Old prayers may feel empty. Because God is calling you deeper. Reading, praying, serving the same way may no longer satisfy. That discomfort is not loss of faith. It is expansion of hunger. God changes seasons to change depth. Vision determines focus. In small seasons, distractions seem harmless. In larger seasons, distractions become dangerous. A driver on a quiet road can glance away. On a highway, that same glance can cause disaster. God sharpens vision to protect you at higher speed. New vision also requires courage. Seeing more means risking more. Many people prefer old seasons because they understand the limits. New vision stretches comfort. But comfort never builds legacy. God invites vision because He trusts your potential more than your fear. Vision shapes identity. In old seasons, you may have defined yourself by struggle. In new seasons, that identity must change. You are no longer just surviving, you are building. Holding on to an old identity in a new season creates inner conflict. God calls you to see yourself differently before others do. Even rest requires new vision. What once refreshed you may now drain you. God changes seasons to adjust balance. New responsibilities require intentional rest, not escape. Vision teaches you how to sustain strength. New seasons expose blind spots. Vision grows when you admit you don't know everything. Learning becomes essential. God brings mentors, new ideas, new perspectives. Pride resists vision. Humility receives it. Growth begins when you are willing to see differently. Vision also affects gratitude. In old seasons, gratitude was for survival. In new seasons, gratitude becomes stewardship. You protect what you appreciate. Vision teaches you to value what God gives so it can multiply. New seasons are not meant to be managed with old maps. Roads change, speed changes, direction changes. Vision is the map God gives for the journey ahead. Without it, people wander in places meant to prosper. With it, pressure becomes purpose, change becomes opportunity, and growth becomes inevitable. When a breakthrough is near, resistance becomes louder. Warfare increases not because you are weak, but because you are moving forward. In daily life, anyone who has ever tried to change knows this pattern. The moment you decide to wake up early, sleep becomes heavier. The moment you choose discipline, distractions multiply. That resistance is not coincidence, it is confirmation. Progress provokes opposition. Stillness attracts nothing, but movement attracts reaction. Think of a person trying to leave a toxic habit. For weeks, the habit felt manageable, but the moment they decide to quit, cravings intensify. The struggle increases right before freedom arrives. The habit fights hardest when it knows it is about to lose control. In the same way, warfare increases when your breakthrough threatens what once controlled you. Calm resistance means stagnation. Intense resistance means change is happening. In work life, before promotion, pressure often rises. Mistakes are noticed more. Expectations increase. Criticism becomes sharper. Many people interpret this as a sign to quit, but it is often a sign that leadership is being tested. If there were no future, there would be no pressure. Gold is not tested until it is valuable. Warfare is proof that value is being revealed. In relationships, just before growth or clarity, misunderstandings increase. Old wounds resurface. Communication becomes difficult. It feels like everything is falling apart, but often it is being exposed so it can be healed. Breakthrough in relationships requires confrontation of what was hidden. Warfare brings hidden things to the surface so peace can be real, not fake. Even emotionally, before inner healing, pain intensifies, old memories return, tears come without warning. Many people retreat at this stage, but healing always hurts before it restores. Doctors warn patients that pain may increase before recovery begins. The pain is not failure, it is process. The mind resists change because familiarity feels safer than freedom. In business or personal goals, setbacks appear right before progress. Plans fall apart, delays happen, resources feel tight. It feels unfair, but pressure reveals commitment. Those who quit during warfare never see breakthrough. Those who persist discover strength they didn't know they had. Storms do not come to destroy airplanes, they come to test their ability to fly. Spiritually, prayer may feel harder when breakthrough is close. Focus weakens, doubt speaks louder, fatigue increases. This is not because prayer has lost power, but because power is being challenged. When something valuable is about to be released, resistance attempts to exhaust you before arrival. That exhaustion is not a sign to stop, it is a signal to stand firmer. In daily health, before improvement, the body often reacts strongly. Muscles ache after exercise. Fever rises before infection breaks. Growth causes strain. Strength is built through resistance. A life without resistance produces weakness, not peace. Warfare strengthens what comfort cannot. Warfare also tests clarity. Before breakthrough, voices multiply. Opinions confuse. Fear exaggerates. This is the moment discernment matters most. Just like a pilot relies on instruments during turbulence, you must rely on truth during warfare, not feelings. Feelings panic. Truth stabilizes. In leadership, criticism intensifies before influence expands. People question motives, misinterpret actions, resist change. Leaders who understand warfare do not personalize opposition. They see it as evidence that movement is happening. Silence often means irrelevance. Opposition means impact. Warfare increases because breakthrough threatens old systems. When you grow, your environment must adjust. Not everything wants to adjust. Comfort resists growth. Fear resists courage. Doubt resists faith. But resistance has an expiration date. Breakthrough does not announce itself quietly, it arrives through tension. In finances, before stability, expenses appear unexpectedly. Tests arise to see if fear or wisdom leads. Breakthrough finances require discipline under pressure. Many people fail the test because they panic instead of preparing. Warfare reveals readiness. Emotionally, loneliness often increases before purpose becomes clear. Old connections fade. New ones haven't formed yet. That gap feels painful, but it is transitional space. Silence prepares you to hear direction. Isolation sharpens focus. Warfare also refines priorities. When everything is easy, distractions feel harmless. When warfare hits, you quickly learn what matters. Pressure simplifies life. It removes excess. Breakthrough clarity comes from concentrated struggle. Every major change in life is preceded by resistance because change threatens the old order. The greater the breakthrough, the stronger the pushback. That pushback is not proof that you are on the wrong path, but proof that the path matters. If nothing were ahead, nothing would fight you. You did not come this far to turn back now. Every tear you cried, every battle you survived, every night you stayed awake wondering if it would ever change, it all had a purpose. What tried to break you was actually shaping you. What resisted you was revealing your value. Remember this powerful truth: pressure is not your enemy, it is your proof. If there was nothing ahead of you, nothing would be fighting you. Storms don't rise against still waters, they rise against moving ships. Hear this clearly. You are not under attack because you are weak. You are under attack because you are next. Breakthrough never walks quietly. It arrives through resistance. Before doors open, walls shake. Before elevation comes, opposition speaks. That is why the weight feels heavier now. That is why the noise is louder. That is why the challenge seems unfair. But champions are not created in comfort. They are revealed in conflict. Let this truth settle deep in your spirit. What stands against you today will bow beneath you tomorrow. The same fire that tries to burn you will refine you. The same struggle that tries to stop you will strengthen you. You are not fighting for victory. You are fighting from preparation. The battle is not a sign of defeat. It is evidence of destiny. History has always remembered those who refused to quit in the middle of the storm. When everything said give up, they said not today. When fear said retreat, faith said stand. Because winners are not those who never fall, but those who rise one more time than they fall. And you right now are rising. Do not measure your future by your current feelings. Feelings change, but purpose remains. Do not interpret delay as denial. Some things take time because they are meant to last. Great things grow slowly so they can stand strongly. If it's taking longer, it's because it's becoming deeper. Tell your heart this: I am stronger than this moment. Tell your mind this: I was built for this pressure. Tell your fear this: you picked the wrong person. Because the same God who allowed the storm also set the limit. The storm cannot last forever. Night does not have permission to cancel morning. Every season has an expiration date, and this one is almost done. When you walk out of this, you will not walk out empty. You will walk out wiser, braver, sharper, unshakable. People will ask how you survived, and you will smile. Not because it was easy, but because it was worth it. Your scars will speak louder than your explanations. So stand tall, lift your vision, strengthen your faith. What you are facing is not bigger than what is within you. You were not chosen because you were strong. You were made strong because you were chosen. And when the breakthrough comes, and it will, remember this moment. Remember that you did not quit. Remember that you stayed when walking away was easier. Because those who endure the pressure are the ones trusted with the promise. Your story is not ending here. This is not your breaking point. This is your birthing place.